This is Neil Schneider from Meant to Be Seen at CES 2018. The future computing trend continues. To my immediate right is Richard Steiber. He is the president of Viveport at HTC. Welcome to the program, Richard.
Thank you so much. Great to being here.
It's always a pleasure to reconnect each year because HTC is always doing new things.
Yes,
fun, exciting things. So let's start off with the hardware. What have you got in your hands?
So at CES, basically what we're doing is we're extending our leadership in technology. So the new Vive Pro, which has a much better resolution, it has much better audio, and we're going wireless, which is also very important.
Okay, so when you say wireless, just define it for people who are unfamiliar.
So basically high-end VR, you have always been connected to your PC, and today we're announcing the first Vive wireless accessory, so that you can basically untether yourself, both if you have the current Vive or if you have the new Vive Pro. So it's an accessory that basically takes away the cord.
Okay, so you said higher resolution. Do you know the specs off the top of your head?
Yeah, so basically now you will have a 2880 times 1660, which is 78% better resolution than you had from the previous Vive.
Okay, good stuff. What about any guesses on hardware requirements? Do people need a beefier computer to work with this?
No, so you can have the same. You can have the same hardware specs as is required for the current Vive. So there's no use. It's just going to have better resolution, and I think the main thing is much more crisper, and of course you can be able to read in VR in a completely different new level.
All right, good stuff. Now there are some design changes here.
Yes.
Like I'm seeing right off the bat. I mean, I know there were audio features before that you could add on to the earlier Vive, but is this all default stuff like ear cups? And I noticed you got a new camera in the front. Is that all new?
Yes, so that's all new. So a couple of things. One is that you have much better spatial audio, because of course audio is an important part of the virtual reality experience. You also have noise cancelling microphones, so that when you have social experiences and you talk, you have a much better experience. It's lighter, and also the weight distribution is much better. So when you put it on, you actually feel it less. Which is an important thing that we heard from our customers as well.
Okay, good stuff. Now, in the front, I noticed that there are, unless I'm mistaken, are there two camera lenses instead of one?
You are correct. There are two camera lenses. We will come back to some more announcement on how you can use those. But of course, it's for chaperone purposes, and there might eventually be some augmented reality capabilities as well.
Okay, good stuff. Now, it's not just about the hardware, though. I'm surrounded by experiences.
Yes.
Can you talk about some of the experiences we have on the showcase here at CES?
Yes. So I think the first thing on the content side, we actually have over 2,000 experiences on the Vive platform, so up 1,000 from last year. So on Viveport and Vive Video, we're announcing that we're going from 2D to VR first. So new ways for you to interact with both video and apps. You're thinking something here.
I'm thinking something. I think we should rewind just for an instant, because you're the president of Viveport. Maybe you could tell our viewers what Viveport is, for those who aren't familiar.
Very good. So think of Viveport as the place where you go to find your content and experiences. It's essentially the app store or the experience store in VR. So you can have pay and download, but also we have the world's leading subscription service. So think of it as an early Netflix, where you can have 5 titles, and then for a low monthly price, you can basically keep or swap these applications out. So new way of buying content.
Okay, good stuff. Now let's talk about those experiences.
Yes. So I think when, in the early days when we have the first web pages, people looked at newspapers and all web pages looked like newspapers. You kind of took the old way into the new digital world. So today in VR, a lot of the experiences are actually 2D, even though we're in 3D. So what we're doing today, we announced the world first for Viveport VR. So now you can actually browse content and discover content in 3 dimensions, which is new. But also, when you are interested in a title, you probably look at a review or a video trailer or images. Now you have, for the world first also, interactive virtual reality previews, essentially. So you kind of have think of it as a trailer in VR.
Yeah, that I thought was really cool.
Did you try it?
Yeah, of course I tried it. So yes, so when you're in the environment, you don't just see a picture and image of the game. You actually see a full virtual environment that you can walk around and almost interact. I say almost interact, but you see it. It's not the full experience, but you kind of get a virtual reality snapshot of it. I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah. Very, very enticing stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the new standard going forward.
All right, good stuff. So as far as the experiences, though, I'm seeing games, I'm seeing commercial applications. Can you talk about a little bit about what we got going on in the room here?
I think what's exciting here is that for the gaming side, we're showing some new things like the AAA titles like Fallout, Doom, LA Noire, but also multiplayer experiences. So there's Arizona Sunshine, there is Front Defense, and Evasion. So I think as we move into this year, there will be much more AAA long play content, but it will be social experiences, multiplayer experiences. So that's the number one. I think the kick-ass experience is also the Formula One driver, where you're actually having a simulation machine. Of course, not everyone will have that at home, but I think haptics and things that enhances the experience is going to be much more commonplace. So you will have props like maybe it's a gun or a lightsaber, or if you're a hardcore driver, you'll probably have some driving simulations. I think that's for the home market.
Jog my memory, because HTC has their own controller add-on as well. Forgive me, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, the tracker. So basically what the tracker does is that it enables you to take any physical object to make it come alive in VR. So you can put it on your table tennis racket, your dancing shoes, or if you have...
Do you have dancing shoes?
My kids love to dance in VR. So of course, they're standing in VR and doing all kinds of dance moves. And I think you and I, since we're tough guys, we don't really dance. We can dance in VR in our own sort of, comfort. So yes, people are dancing in VR.
Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. Now, one of the things about virtual reality and immersive technology in general is I'd almost describe it as a far-seeing media, as in, we have our experiences for today, and then we've got really wild things to look forward to within the next 5 to 10 years as well. Yep. From a revenue point of view, though, there's really good short-term opportunities that people could be taking advantage of today. I was wondering, maybe you could share some experiences, things that HTC is seeing as a good revenue drivers for virtual reality.
Yeah, I do think that there are both things that are more consumer-oriented, and then there are things that are a little bit more enterprise or education-oriented. And I think if we start on the enterprise side, I do think that VR is truly revolutionized in a couple of different functions. So if you're into design or architecture, I'm a Swedish person, so I'm sorry to see the IKEA catalog go away, but actually doing things in 3D is, it's going to be a game changer for the design industry and architecture industry. I think the other thing is sales and marketing. So if you're going to buy a new car or a new house, or you're going to check out the next vacation destination, you're most likely going to do that in VR because it's such a high value investment. So of course, if you're selling cars, the investment of a VR headset will be paid off by the first car you sell. So I think there are several things for enterprises where you can do things you couldn't do before. So those companies will certainly make a lot of money using this technology. On the consumer side, it's still a lot about gaming and entertainment. But if you look at some of the more AAA titles, they are selling in the millions of dollars, so that's becoming meaningful. But I do think actually education and learning, maybe not education, like learning in a fun way, and exploring new things. It could be underwater, it could be the ancient cities of Egypt or the rainforest. Exploration is going to be such an important thing for us and for our kids and the future of education.
Okay. Now, I understand you've done some work as far as working to change the world with virtual reality.
Yes.
Can you talk about some of your work there?
Yeah, I think, there are a couple of things. I strongly believe in technology for good. So one of the things we've done is we partnered with the United Nations and around their 17 sustainability goals, so eradicating poverty and things like that. So typically these causes have a hard time explaining to people, what the problem is. So let's take one example, the rainforest. Actually, did you know that 87 square kilometers is being eradicated every minute? So you can visualize that in virtual reality in a completely new way. Did you know that, if you're in extreme poverty, if you are in the streets of some of the cities with kids with swollen bellies and flies in their eyes, you kind of understand how bad the problem is, and hopefully that could help you to take action. So virtual reality is very good at transmitting emotions and driving insights that can drive action. So I think that's one area where we can change the world before it's too late.
Are any organizations, working with HTC, like, discovering this as a tool for pushing that forward?
There's a ton. There's a ton. So the Rainforest is the Rainforest Alliance, but I think that United Nations is actually a very good platform because many of these causes are sort of coming around these different sustainability goals. So if it's education or poverty or equality, for sure.
All right, good stuff. Thanks so much for joining us. Really exciting stuff here.
Thank you for having me, and see you in virtual reality.
This is Neil Schneider from Meant to Be Seen at CES 2018. We will, of course, be back with more. Thank you for watching.